July 1959. Saline County, Kansas. The wheat is ripe and the storm is 3 days out. Ruth Bingham died in February. Her husband Tom stands alone at the edge of 40 acres he cannot cut by himself. The bank note comes due Friday. Here is the story. The wheat is gold, and it is heavy, and it is ready. It is dead ripe and dry as paper. It will not wait. Wheat that stands too long shatters in the first hard rain, and the radio out of Salina says rain by Saturday. Tom Bingham is 64 years old. His hands are good, his back is not. He has one old binder and a tired red truck, and no son in the field, because his son took a factory job in Wichita, and the boy was right to go. Ruth used to drive the truck while Tom pitched the bundles. 41 harvests she drove that truck. She kept the rows straight, and she kept the water cold, and she never once let him quit before the light did. Ruth is gone since the winter. The bed is empty. The seat is empty. Tom looks at 40 acres and does the arithmetic of 1 man and 3 days, and the arithmetic does not work. He has farmed this quarter section since he came home from the First War. His father broke it. He kept it. The note at the bank is not a foolish debt. It is seed and fuel and a new roof on the barn, the ordinary cost of an ordinary year, and in an ordinary year the wheat pays it back with a little over. But this is not an ordinary year. This is the year the rain comes early, and the wife is gone, and the back will not bend the way it bent at 40. The wheat does not care about any of that. The wheat is ready, and the sky is coming, and a field does not wait for a man to feel ready to save it. A black sedan comes up the section road at 9 in the morning. A man gets out in a gray suit and a city hat. He carries a clipboard. He does not take off the hat in the heat. He is from the loan company in Salina, and he has come to look at the field the way a man looks at something he already owns. Mr. Bingham, he checks the clipboard. Notes due Friday, $2,000. I know what it is. That's a lot of wheat to move in 3 days, by yourself. The loan man looks at the standing gold, then at the gray sky building far off in the west. Banks prepared to take the quarter section in settlement. Save you the worry. Tom says nothing. There is nothing in it to say. The loan man is not cruel. That is the worst of it. He is only a man with a clipboard doing the arithmetic of the loan company. And the arithmetic of the loan company is the same arithmetic Tom did at dawn. 1 old man, 40 acres, 3 days, a storm. It does not add up for either of them. The loan man writes something on the clipboard. He has seen old men lose farms before. He has stood in 100 yards like this one and watched 100 men understand the same thing at the same speed. He knows the look of a thing that is already over. Across the road, at the filling station with the one pump, a man in a denim shirt is buying a cold bottle of pop and watching. He is a big man, broad through the shoulders, a tan hat pushed back off a weathered face. He is driving home to California from a cattle sale in Kansas City, and he stopped for gas and a cold drink and a stretch of his legs. His picture is playing in town this week. Rio Bravo. Half of America knows his walk. Tom Bingham does not go to the pictures and would not know him from any other rancher passing through. The big man watches the gray suit get back in the black sedan. He watches the old man stand alone in his wheat. He has seen that arithmetic too. He knows what 3 days and 1 back add up to. He could finish his pop, get in his car, and be in Colorado by dark. Nobody would ever know he drove past. Where are you watching from? Drop your state in the comments. I want to see how far this story reaches. Instead, the big man sets the bottle on the rail. He walks across the section road. The dust is white and the heat comes up off it in waves. He stops at the fence line where Tom is sharpening the binder sickle with a stone. That all the help you got? Tom looks up. It's all the help there is. When's it due? Friday. The big man looks at the field. He looks at the sky in the west. He takes off his good shirt and hangs it on the fence post and rolls the sleeves of the one underneath to the elbow. Well, he says, let's get after it. Tom Bingham has lived 64 years and learned that men who stop at a fence line mostly stop to talk. This one does not talk. This one climbs into the wheat and starts pitching bundles, And after the first hour, Tom stops wondering who he is, because there is no breath left over for wondering. They work. The sun comes up hard and white, and there is no shade anywhere in 40 acres. The binder cuts and ties and drops the bundles, and the two men stand them into shocks. 10 bundles to a shock, heads up to dry, the way it has been done in that country for 60 years. It is old work. It is the work of men who cannot afford a combine, and Tom Bingham cannot afford a combine, and so it is the work of 2 backs and a horse-drawn machine, and the hours God gives in a July day. The big man's hands are not soft. He has thrown a rope and broken a horse, and his palms no work. But this is not movie work. There is no lunch wagon. There is no second take. By noon, the new blisters open anyway, and he wraps them in a torn handkerchief and keeps pitching. He does not mention them. Tom sees the red soak through the cloth and says nothing either, because a man who has come to help does not want to hear about his own hands. Tom drives the truck now. The big man loads it. He swings the bundles up over the side rail in long, easy throws, and the gold piles up on the red bed, and the dust turns to mud on his soaked shirt. A boy from the filling station comes at noon with 2 other boys. They have figured out who the big man is. Word like that does not stay at a gas pump in a small county. They do not ask for anything. They do not ask for a picture or a word. They climb into the wheat and start standing shocks, because a thing is happening in their county that they will tell their whole lives, and they want their hands in it. The big man puts them to work without ceremony, the way you put any willing hand to work. And that is the thing they will remember longest, that he did not treat them like an audience. He treated them like crew. By dark, the first 10 acres are down and shocked, and the storm is 2 days out. The big man drinks 3 dippers of water at the well and does not sit down, because he knows that if he sits, the old man working beside him will sit too. And a man at the end of a day like this one does not always get back up. Tom does not sit either. They stand in the cooling field and look at what is cut and what is not, and neither of them says the number out loud. The lone man comes back the next morning. The black sedan stops on the road. He looks at the standing shocks where yesterday there was only uncut wheat. He looks at the big man up on the truck bed, sleeves rolled, hat dark with sweat, throwing bundles. The lone man knows the face now. Everyone knows the face. He stands by his car a long time, with the clipboard hanging at his side, and he does not write anything down. "That's not going to change the arithmetic," he calls out. "Wheat's got to be cut, threshed, hauled, and graded at the elevator before the note's called." Friday, noon. The big man does not stop throwing. "We heard you the first time. Have you ever had someone step in beside you at the very moment you'd run out of road? Not to fix it for you, just to pick up the other end. It changes something, doesn't it? The second day is hotter than the first. No wind, the kind of heat that stands still over a field and presses down. They cut the back 40 where the ground rolls and the binder pulls hard. The big man does not slow. He has found the rhythm of it now. Cut, bind, stand, load. And the rhythm is the only mercy in this kind of work. And he holds to it. The binder breaks a chain at 2 o'clock. Tom kneels to thread it, and his hands shake. They have shaken since the winter, a small thing. The kind of thing a man hides at the supper table when there is someone across it to hide it from. There is no one across it now. The chain slips through his fingers twice. The big man crouches beside him and takes it from his hands without a word. The way you take a thing from a man so that it is help and not pity. And he threads it, and they go again. They do not talk about Ruth. A man does not open that to a stranger in a field. But when Tom looks too long at the empty truck seat, the big man sees it, and he sees what it is, because he has buried people too. He says, "She'd have driven it better than you." And Tom laughs, a short cracked sound, the first laugh since February, surprised out of him before grief can stop it. It is the kindest thing anyone has said to him in 5 months, and it is kind precisely because it is not soft. It is true. She would have driven it better. The big man knew the one thing to say was the true thing, and he said it, and then he went back to throwing wheat. By dark on the second day the wheat is down. All 40 acres. Standing in shocks across the whole quarter section, gold in the last light, and the storm is one day out. Friday morning they thresh. A neighbor hauls his old threshing machine over behind a tractor at first light, one of the last separators left in the county, and they set the belt and feed the shocks in. The boys come back. 2 more neighbors come, with their own trucks, because that is what neighbors did in that country in that year. The grain pours out the spout into the red truck, and the straw blows out the back, in a long gold cloud, and the big man stands in the chaff and the heat pitching bundles into the machine all morning, hour after hour, never out of the rhythm. The clouds are coming now, dark in the west, the first wind moving through the stubble. There is nothing left standing to bend. They beat it. By 2 backs and 3 boys and 2 neighbors and 1 old machine, they beat it. They drive the threshed grain to the co-op elevator in Salina, load after load, down the dirt road and onto the highway, and the big man rides each load in. People in town stop on the sidewalk and look. Some of them have seen the picture playing at the theater that very week. They look at the truck and they look at the man in the truck, and they cannot make the 2 things fit, so they decide they are wrong, and they go on. That is how he wanted it. The elevator man grades it. He runs it through, and he reads the dial, and he runs it again to be sure. Number 1, hard red winter wheat. Dry, clean, good weight. He writes the ticket. The wheat, Tom Bingham's wheat, off Tom Bingham's land, cut on Tom Bingham's own machine, comes to $2,590. The note is $2,000. Tom pays the loan company at 11 in the morning, 1 hour before noon, in cash off his own crop. The loan man takes the money and writes "paid in full" on the bottom of the note, and his hand is not quite steady. He gets in the black sedan and drives back to Salina, and does not look at the field again. The big man could have written a check that first morning. He had it on him. He could have made the whole thing go away before lunch and been in Colorado by dark, but a check would have made it his farm that he gave back. Sweat made it Tom's farm that he kept. The big man knew the difference. That is the whole of it. That is the why. The rain comes Friday night. It comes hard, and it comes all night. It would have shattered every head still standing in the field. There is nothing standing in the field. It is all in the elevator in Salina, graded and sold and paid. Saturday morning, the big man's car is gone from the filling station. He left before light. He did not leave a number. He did not leave a name. Tom Bingham went out to the barn to start the day and found, hanging on the nail by the loft ladder where a man hangs his things at the end of work, a pair of leather gloves worn through at the palm and 1 tan hat, sweat dark around the band. The big man drove 400 miles bareheaded rather than knock on a grieving man's door to take back a hat. 40 years pass. It is 1999. The Bingham farm still stands in Saline County. Tom's grandson runs it now, and his name is Bingham, and the home 40 is still in wheat every July, because the family will not put it to anything else. The White House has new paint. The red barn is the same red barn. Inside the barn, on the nail by the loft ladder, there is a pair of leather gloves, worn through at the palm, and 1 tan hat, sweat dark around the band. Nobody in the family has ever moved them. The grandson does not let anyone touch them. When people ask, he tells them the story the way his grandfather told it to him. And then he tells them the part his grandfather only found years later, when the hat was old and he turned the band down to look. There are 2 letters written inside the band in pencil, faded almost to nothing. The kind of mark a man makes in his own hat, so the wardrobe department gives him back his own, and not another man's. 2 letters. M. Tom Bingham never went to the pictures. It was years before a traveling man saw the gloves on the nail and asked, and went pale, and told him whose hands had been in his wheat. By then the man was famous all over again, and dead, and there was no number left to call to say thank you. There never had been. 3 days, sun up to dark, 40 acres of work, cut, shocked, threshed, hauled, and graded. Done by a man who had no reason to touch a single bundle of it, for a widower he had never met, in a county he was only driving through. He gave no money, though he had it in his coat, and could have ended the whole thing before the first day's lunch. He gave the only thing that could not be paid back and could not be turned into his. He gave the work of his own 2 hands at the one moment a man could not do it alone. And then he drove away before sunup, 400 miles bareheaded, so that no one could thank him and the farm would belong to the man who farmed it. Have you ever wondered how many times he did this, in how many counties, that nobody ever knew? How many barns in America have a nail with something hanging on it and a family that will not move it? If this story reached you, do me a favor, pass it on. Share it with a farmer, a veteran, anyone in your life who has carried a hard season alone. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. There are more Duke stories coming. And unfortunately, they don't make men like John Wayne anymore.